Let me wait for other students, then I'll start the session. Okay, fine, students. So let me start. Okay. So here, that's what I've done. Okay. In similar, here also I'm calling my box one dot volume. Okay. Here also what I'm trying to, I'm trying to call my box one dot volume, and control goes here, and the code inside is get executed. And what is trying to, it's trying to return the value. What value is trying to return? Is trying to return a value called 6,000, right? That is with respect. I'm sorry. One second. It's no mistake. It is not my box one. It's my box two, right? Yeah. In first case, it is my box one. In second case, it is my box two dot volume, right? So code goes here. Okay. And here what I'm trying to compute width into height into depth. And we got a value called 6,000. Okay. I'm trying to return a 6,000. Where I'm trying to return, I'm returning back to this. I'm returning back to this statement. So what I should do, this also I need to store in a variable. That is, I can use VOL2. Okay. And let me clear my drawings and let me write this. And I can do here. VOL2. There should not be any space. VOL1. Okay, VOL1. Right. Next, what I should do? I need to print the values. Increment. I'm going to print. That is the value VOL2. Let me remove this stuff. Let me clear. Now I have commented it, right? So so the value what I'm trying to store in a variable called VOL, and this and second one I'm trying to store in a variable called VO2. And you see the students here. You see that here. This extra variable can be avoided. Okay. See, when you write any programming, it's the best practice is to avoid using more variables. Okay. Why? Because variables occupy space. Variables occupy. Variables occupy space. So that's why we need to minimize using the variables. Now, here instead of storing the values in these variables, what I can do, instead of storing the values inside these variables, what I can do, see, now let me clear it. So now, what is VOL, students? What is VOL? VOL is nothing but this mybox dot volume, right? And what is VOL2? It's nothing but this mybox 2 dot volume. So here, what you can do instead of writing this VOL1, what you can do, we can write this mybox 1 dot volume, because what is VOL1? It's nothing but this mybox 1 dot volume. Similarly, instead of writing this VOL2, what you can do it? Just I can write it mybox 2 dot volume. This I can write here. You got it? So thereby what you can do, you can avoid these two extra variables. This can be avoided, right? So let me clear my drawings and let you can see that. See that? Now I can, yes, copy this. I can place here, and what is with this? This nothing but this. Now what I can do, I can comment this. It's not required. I can comment. You see that I have avoided this two extra variables. So directly I can write mybox1 dot volume. Okay. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen when I'm trying to call mybox1 dot volume? When I'm trying to call mybox1 dot one, where control goes? Uh, 1 second, students. Let me place in a single frame. There, and let me remove this. Let me remove this. Let me put in a single frame. Okay. Yeah. Let me remove this so that I can put in a single frame. Yeah, now I got it. And one more thing, it's not be semicolon inside this. Yeah, fine. Yeah, I can see it students. Okay, so I'm calling here mybox1 dot volume. I'm calling mybox1 dot volume. Where the control goes, inside this volume method, and inside is what I'm trying to compute width into height into depth. So I'm calling with respect to mybox1. So the value of this will be 1,000. The value of this will be 1,000, and this 1,000 what I'm trying to return. I'm trying to return this 1,000. So where I'm trying to return, so this enter statement will be replaced by 1,000. By 1,000. That's all. And similarly, in the next case, what I'm trying to call my box 2 dot volume. So again, the control goes here. And what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to execute width into height into depth. In the second case, it will be 6,000. In second case, it will be 6,000. I'm trying to return. I'm trying to return this 6,000, and this entire value, that is entire statement. This entire statement will replace with 6,000. It will print my box volume of box 1 is 1,000 and volume of box 2 is 6,000. Is it right, students? Is it right? Right? Yeah, fine. I hope understood this. Right? Now, and one more thing. Yes, remove this. Oh, okay, fine. Okay, so this code looks to be a little bit better, right? This code, you see that the code which you written is a little bit better. But one thing here, actually, I forgot, I've deleted this code. Let me write it here. Equal to 10, height equal to 20. This is 5, right? And that's what I've done. Now, next what I've done. Next, I've done the same thing I've done like this, right? My box 2, my box 2, my box 2, 10, 20, 30, and 10. Okay, and these are the values I've done here. Okay. Is it right, students? And that's what I've done, right? So in order to initialize, instance variable, in order to initialize the instance variable, what I've done my box 1 dot width, my box 1 dot height, my box 1 dot depth. And similarly with respect to my box 2, I've done my box 2 dot width, my box 2 dot height, and my box 2 dot depth. So instead of doing like this, okay, so let me comment this, okay, instead of doing something like this, means instead of initializing like this, what we can do, instead of initializing something like this, what we can do, we can write a method. We can write a method inside this class call box. Inside the class call box, what we can do, we can write a method. So let me write a method called void set dim. Dim stands for dimensions. Okay, dim stands for dimensions. Okay, dim stands for dimensions. Now inside this dim, okay, yeah, as I said that, I think I've discussed in the previous class, right? A method can take parameters, right? A method can take parameters, or a method may not take parameters. So in this case, the volume method is not taking any parameters. Right now, let me write a set dim method which is taking a parameters called double w, double h, double depth. Okay, and inside this, I'll be writing what the instance variable. These are the instance variables, right? So these are the instance variables. Let me write width equal to w, and height equal to h, and depth equal to d. Okay. See that, students? I've done here. Okay. Now, okay, and instead of writing like this, students, actually I want to put a single frame. Okay, that's actually for your reference I'm typing here. Okay, but don't do like this, do not run the program. Okay, just for reference. Okay. Um, I want to put, yeah, fine. You see the students, instead of doing like this, instead of doing something stuff like this, what we can do, instead of doing something stuff like this, okay, what we can do, I can call the corresponding set dim method. How I can call? I can call something like this, my box. Okay, I can do my box 1 dot set dim. Dim stands for dimension. That's why I picked the name called dim. Set dim. Okay. So what's the dimension I am setting for width? I'm setting for 10. Okay. Next for height, what dimension I'm setting? I'm setting 20. Again for depth, what dimension I set? 5. 5. Okay. You know what's going to happen? This 10 will go to W, and this 20 will go to H, and this 5 will go to D. So what's going to happen? The width value will be 10, and height will be 20, and depth will be 5. Okay, you see the students, I'm calling this setdim method. I'm calling this setdim method with respect to my box one. Okay, the same I'm calling with respect to my box one. This width, height, and depth belongs to my box one. Is it right, students? And let me do the next statement. Let me do like this. Next is my box two dot, my box two dot set dim, set dim, and this time what is that values? 20, 30, 10, right? So let me pass 20, 30, and 10. So now what's going to happen? Now 20 will go to W, 20 will go to W, and 30 will go to H, and 50 will go to D. Okay, now what's the value of W? W will be 20, and this H will be 30, and this will be 10. Okay, now you see the students, I call this setdim method. I call this setdim method with respect to my box 2. Since I call setdim with respect to my box 2, now in this case, this width, height, and depth belongs to my box 2. It belongs to my box 2. Is it right, students? So like this, what I can do, I can set the values. How we can set the values? With respect to a method, instead of doing something like this. But it's not the best. So instead of doing like this, what I can do, no need to do something like this. Okay. Instead of doing something like this, what I can do, I can pick a method something like this. I can pick a method something like this. And using this method, what I can do, I can set values to my instance variables. So this is my box one, and this is my object one, this is my object two. Okay. So this object one has width, it has height, it has depth. Okay. So instead of doing something like this, what I can do, I can pick a method. Using this method, what I can do, I can set the values to my instance variables, width, height, and depth. So what's the value I set? I set 10, I set 20, and I set 5. And here also what I've done. So this first object is my second object, right? And second I've set 20, I've set 30, and I've set 10. So just don't get confused. I've written WH. Okay, like instead of writing full name, instead of writing this full name, width, height, depth, in short, I've written WHD. Okay, don't get confused with this. This is different. Okay. This width, instead of writing this width, height, and depth, I've written in short W, H, and D. Okay, but actually you should write width, complete name, you should write it. Here also, I should write the complete name. Since you know that, I've written in a short notation. Okay, so like this, it can be done. I've finished with method, students. You have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, and that's all for today's class. Have a nice day. And let me clear all my drawings and let me write the full code. So this is not required. Let me write the complete code. This is remove this. Just remove this. And what I should write here, students? I should write first I need to set, right? How to write? I should write my box one. I'll finish it. My box one dot set dim. I'll write 10, 20, comma 5. Next, the same statement I should write for my box two. Okay, my box two set dim. I'll write it 20, 30, and then there's a complete program. Complete. Hope you understood, students, right? So my class box, I'm trying to conclude this. 1 second, I'll finish it off. My class box is having 3 instance variables. It has 3 instance variables. It has 3 instance variables. And how many methods is having? It has 2 methods. You see that? It has 2 methods. The first method is setdim. Setdim is my first method, and volume is my second method. It has 3 instance variables, and it has 2 methods. That is my class box. Class box. Right? So why I've used this setdim? I use setdim in order to set values to my instance variable. So like this, I've called setdim in order to set values to my instance variable. And next, I've called this my box one dot volume in order to compute the volume of my box one. And similarly, in order to compute the volume of my box two, I called my box two dot volume. Right? And that's all for today's class, students. In case you have any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, you can leave the session. Have a nice day. Any questions, you can ask, students. Okay, any questions? You can ask. Otherwise, and that's all for today's class. Yes, students, any doubts? Okay, students, that's all for this class. Have a nice day. I'm leaving the meeting.